So this is a question that many have asked, and many have been waiting for this video. So I thought, let's go ahead and get it done. Get her done, as they say. Would you mind speaking to the second coming of Christ? Because my sense is that it is more an awakening of Christ's consciousness within us, which seems to be happening now, and the kingdom of heaven being here again within us as we awaken, as opposed to Jesus making the descent on a cloud in the sky, horns blaring, and separating the lambs from the goats. Amen. Amen. I want you to think about something. In one of my other videos, I showed a picture that I took of Jesus in Norway. Let me say that again. I showed a picture that I took of Jesus when I was in Norway. Right now, you can find people who channel and psychics who say they're getting messages from Jesus. Every one of us can feel when something happens, we feel really good. We get that sensation that gives us goosebumps. You hear people talk about that all the time. That's feeling that spiritual, unconditional place. The second coming of Christ. Now let's look at that Christ. Christ just means anointed one, right? And that was a ancient term used for someone who stands out, basically. And Joshua did that. He stood out, and he was far down the road than we were. Absolutely. He understood his divinity. He understood his place. He lived it. He was the way, the truth, and the light, right? He showed it. He was the beacon for us to follow. What was it that we were following? What was the light? What was the way? It was the consciousness within him. It was the knowing his oneness with everything, his oneness with source. And once you know it, you can experience living it all the time. And when you talk about the Christ, the second coming of Christ, so basically that statement is the second coming of the anointed ones, right? And I added an S there, anointed ones, because that Christ consciousness, which is what he was teaching, how to get to that place, is happening now. I see it all over the place. We are literally in an age of enlightenment. We are literally in the age of the quote unquote second coming of Christ, the Christ consciousness, the Christ energy, the form. In other words, the second coming is his teachings being realized, his teachings being awakened, people starting to get what it. And now, I said in a different video earlier, and I don't know whether it was on here or on my Spirit Cafe video I recorded today. 20 years ago, everyone who saw me speak was all about the John the Beloved past life. That's all they ever want to talk about. You guys all want to talk about the teachings, and many of you say that you already knew it. That is a direct, that is direct evidence. That is direct evidence of the Christ consciousness awakening in all of us. There are people who have been in Catholicism for years who are now walking away from the church. If you look at the statistics, the organized religion are losing people by the droves. Why is this? Because the organized religions they've wrapped so much stuff around the truth that it's no longer truth. It's no longer what was being taught. And when people hear the truth, it awakens them. They go, oh, yeah, I feel that that's right. It resonates with me. It just makes me feel like that's the correct answer. But that goes completely against all of this subconscious training that's been beat in my head for years. And I'm so gratified when I see someone who is so deeply into any religion who watches the video and says, oh, wow, that resonates, that feels right. Because that shows me that they're awakening, that they are coming out. They're in the most exciting time of their life. It seems scary, it seems daunting, because everything they've been taught up to this point has told them that if you don't think like us, you're wrong, or you're bad, or you're going to hell. And none of that's going to happen. You are creating your experience. You are creating your life. You are the Christ in your life. This whole second coming is all of us stepping into our Christed selves. We're anointing ourselves into this knowledge. And it's fascinating to me to watch the experiences of people who are just now getting it. And it's not tonight on the live cast. I'm going to be talking about how the simplicity of living, loving, and how it's not about big, daunting, or mind-blowing metaphysical experiences. It's about living, loving, and then witnessing it. You can go out and live loving, and then marvel at the things that happen afterwards, because it's the motion, the thoughts, words, and deeds that you put into your present moment that bring this second coming about. We as a whole are bringing heaven to earth. We are literally bringing heaven to earth. And the interesting thing is, and they talk about the second coming, and they often follow that up with, he's coming to judge us. Well, the only person who can judge you is you. They can legally put you in jail if you've done bad things, but you yourself have to look at yourself and say, am I a good person or am I a bad person? If you're a good person, you're not going to what you would say hell, because that's your belief. If you're a bad person and you know you're a bad person and you know that you're going to hell, you're probably going to go there because that's what you're going to experience. But then you're going to have this other experience that shifts you past that so you can see the consciousness. I think there's going to be some people who don't get it, and they're not going to get it until they've crossed over. But I think there's a huge influx of people right now who are just simply awakening, just simply realizing that what they have followed for years doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, why are you still following? The reason you're still following is because the following is habitual. The following has become habit. Why has it become habit? Because it's in your subconscious. Why is it in your subconscious? Because it was probably put there early on. I did 12 years of CCD in my Catholic church. And for those of you who don't know what that is, that's called Confraternity for Christian Doctrine. Confraternity for Christian Doctrine. That's where you take the young people and you indoctrinate them into the faith. And you indoctrinate them by giving them the doctrines that they follow. That's what that is. That's, they're training the kids to believe only what they believe, what they say they believe. And to me, what I see now is a lot of people who had that upbringing fall away. I think on another video I talked about the fact that I was one time speaking at a metaphysical center that was in a choir loft of a church. And the reason it was there is because the church was losing members so fast that they needed to rent out the choir loft to keep the doors open. Time went by, and it kept getting diminished, and the metaphysical center outgrew the space. The other thing that happened that I may not have mentioned is the church people started writing Satan-worshiping things on upstairs. You people are Satan worshipers. You're all going to burn in hell. They're writing these things on the wall. They're going into the metaphysical center and writing down hateful, harmful things. And then they go somewhere else, and I'm sure they've said, what would Jesus do? Would Jesus have done that? I don't think so. I don't think Jesus would have done that. It's harmful and hateful. And Jesus, Jeshua, preached love. I leave you one commandment, love one another. He never said love one another unless they're not Catholic, unless they're not Methodist, unless they're not Baptist, unless they're not Muslim, unless they're not any religion. The teachings is love one another. And so to bring this Christ consciousness back, we are all awakening to that teaching. We're all awakening to that. And I see it in my son. When I grew up in Rehoboth Beach many years ago, even the vocabulary was different. We would refer to black people as colored. And that was normal vocabulary. But no, we don't do that anymore, right? Because the consciousness is shifting. The empathy is starting to show up. The love is starting to appear. Things are changing. Things are drastically shifting towards a more loving world. And the more people we can get to set down the guilt and the dogma of religion, the more we bring Christ's teachings to work. So the second coming of Christ, that is all of us awakening to the teachings and all of us living the teachings and being the teachings. And if there's a second coming, I mean, I've already seen him. He showed up in my picture in Norway. You've all already felt him, right? Because if you feel anything that is like a tingle in your gut, that's touching the other side. And he is a part of that other side. You're already stepping into that consciousness. So welcome to the second coming. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you tonight. Hey, tonight, I'm really excited. The live stream tonight is going to be the 50th video on the channel. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have a great time. My best friend Tim is going to run he's going to moderate the chat board. We have been playing around with tech, trying to figure it out, make sure we know what we're doing. And I'm sure there'll be some weird glitches and things because we've never done this before. But just please be patient and empathetically cheer us on, because we're actually doing this for the first time ourselves. I'm excited because it's a chance to talk to you directly. I actually added an extra monitor to my setup here. I've got a computer here, a teleprompter here, and my iPod set up as a secondary monitor so that I can put up the chat board here big, so I don't have to try to hunt over here for it. So I think we're getting this figured out. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to talking to you guys tonight, and we will see you then. Have a great night. See ya. Bye.